What's going on, man? Back at it again with another video. It's your boy, Numbers Fan Jay. We made it to week 3, man. We got some news to talk about before we get into the predictions. We got, starting off with Michael Gallup, is going to have meniscus surgery. He's going to miss 2 to 4 weeks. Cowboys receiver. Actually top 5 in receiving yards. 5th if I'm not mistaken. Having a great season. Finally established that connection with Dak Prescott. Has a little setback, little minor setback. Hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. So hopefully, if not 2 weeks, then 3 weeks. Hopefully it doesn't have to be a full 4 weeks. But everybody's body is different. Also, between the last time we talked and today, Jalen Ramsey has requested a trade from Jacksonville. Kansas City is projected to be one of his top suitors. A team that's looking to trade for him, and rightfully so. They need a lot of help in the secondary. I think that would be a perfect fit for him. I hate that as a Chargers fan because I'm sick of them picking up everybody. But anyway, Eli has been benched. As of Tuesday, Daniel Jones is a starter for the New York Giants. So finally done watching Eli stake it up. I could not stand. Eli and Jay Cutler are pretty much the same quarterback to me. I don't understand why they've been a starter for so long. But anyway, Cam is in a walking boot, and he's considered day-to-day. Some news came out just recently that, players and quarterbacks especially, and coaches, they have their little gamesmanship. They're not going to admit when they're hurt. They're not going to admit when something's bothering them and hindering them from playing to the best of their ability. But if you're in a walking boot, I mean, come on. It has to have been bothering you. He's missing wide open throws. This is a guy that scored 45 touchdowns just a few years ago and an MVP in the league. We know that he can make throws. So, anyway, on to the predictions. We have 8 early games and 5 late games this week, including one night game on Sunday night, one Monday night game, and one game tonight, Thursday night. That is Tennessee at Jacksonville. But before I get into that, as promised, I have to always go back and do my Monday night game analysis. So I picked the Browns. The Browns won. This game was more about the Browns being good than it was about the Jets being bad, since the Jets don't have their quarterback and they lost Trevor Siemian in this game. So just terrible luck for the Jets. But also news, Sam Darnold is going to be returning week 5 after the early bye for the Jets, which is in week 4, against the Eagles. So the 2-minute drill stood out for me in the Browns game. Baker Mayfield authored that team right down into field goal range and did everything he was supposed to do. Didn't see a lot of bad from him. He did take an unnecessary sack with 2 minutes left in the game. You're up 23-3. First of all, why is your quarterback still in the game? That's the first mistake. But the announcer the commentator even said it before the play. They said Baker doesn't need to take an unnecessary hit here. He gets tripped up and pulled by the leg, and 3 defensive linemen are pulling him to the ground. Like, it's not, you don't need that up 23-3 with 2 minutes in the whole game. Like, take your quarterback out of there. But that's it for that game. On to the week 3 predictions. Titans at Jaguars tonight, as I just mentioned earlier. The Titans have won 4 in a row, 7 of the last 10. Jacksonville has 0 takeaways this season, while the Titans have 5, which is leading the league, tied for the lead in the NFL. The Titans are 6th in points per game in scoring, 2nd against the pass, and 6th in points allowed. So they're playing well on both sides of the ball. Leonard Fournette hasn't been playing that well. 0 touchdowns this year, 1 touchdown in the last 5 games that he's played. The last time he had 100 yards rushing was January 14th, 2018, playoff game against the Steelers. We all remember that game. That was a great game for him. But since then, he has not had a 100-yard game. I know he's had a few injuries, but he still played. So Lions at Eagles. The Lions being 1-0-1 are technically undefeated. So I project the Eagles to win this game. The Lions won 3 out of the last 4 meetings between the two. Eagles are 5th in run defense. They only have 2 sacks this season. Can't really pressure the quarterback that well. They're allowing 25 points per game. The Lions are allowing 124 124 rushing yards per game. I think the Eagles can win this game on the ground. If they can get the ground game going and stop the Lions' run. If you look at the Chargers game where we held them to 94 yards rushing last week, we almost came out of there with a win. So if the Eagles can keep that same formula and run the ball better than we did, hold on to the ball, don't turn over, I think they'll get the win. They'll end the Lions' undefeated streak at 1-0-1. So have the Eagles winning that one at home. Jets at Patriots. Patriots are undefeated. Not a lot to talk about here. Number 1 defense in the league. Number 2 scoring offense. Looking like they're about to run through the league again, like I mentioned last week. Belichick and the Pats have won 6 in a row, 9 of the last 10. The Pats' last loss at home, you may ask? January 16, 2011 in the AFC divisional round. That was when the Jets had Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan. So long time ago since they've beaten the Pats at home. Raiders at Vikings. I was going to go Raiders, but I think I'm going to go Vikings now. Dalvin Cook is the leading rusher. That's a big factor. Josh Jacobs is 4th so far in rushing. The Oakland offense has struggled, 17 points per game, albeit they played the Broncos in the first game and all of that. But second game, they only scored 14 points against the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, their defense isn't that good. There's no reason for you to stop at 14. Like, come on now. But Minnesota's defense is another tough defense, so they're allowing 16.5 points per game. Their offense is 3rd in rushing yards per game at 5.7 yards per carry. Oakland is 5th versus the run themselves, only allowing 2.8 yards per carry. So this game doesn't look like it's going to be very high scoring. I'm going to have to go with the Vikings at home. Raiders at Chiefs, game of the week. Oh my goodness, I waited on this for so long. Last year this game went to overtime. The Chiefs won in Kansas City. It's in Kansas City again. Oh my goodness, there's so many big names. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Tyrann Mathieu, Earl Thomas. This is gonna be fantastic. The world is gonna be tuned in to watch this game. Ravens number 1 offense. 223 rushing yards per game, 541 total yards a game, 41 points per game through 2 games so far. Kansas City, number 1 passing offense. We know Patrick Mahomes, he can just throw it to anybody. Number 4, scoring 34 points per game. The Ravens, though, they also have the number 2 defense, and that's going to be the difference in this game. 2nd in total yards allowed, number 1 against the run, at only 20.5 yards per game. Number 3 in scoring defense at 13.5, albeit they played the Dolphins in the first game. I understand that. This team has just been clicking on all cylinders, though. So I'm going to go with the Ravens on the road. 2-0 versus 2-0 is very hard to pick. I'm going to go Ravens. I know I pick against the Chiefs all the time, but the Ravens, I can't not pick the Ravens because they look so good this year. The Chiefs still worry me on defense, although they did good against the Raiders last week. They still worry me. So, going Ravens. Falcons at Colts. The Colts lead this series. Listen to this. There's been 16 meetings between the Colts and the Falcons. The Colts lead this series 14-2. I think y'all know who I'm going to pick. I'm picking the Colts. Matt Ryan. Actually, I'll give you stats and you tell me which quarterback you would have thought had these stats coming into this game. One quarterback has 5 interceptions, 5 touchdowns. The other quarterback has 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Well, Matt Ryan has the 5 interceptions. So, Jacoby Brissett has played very, very well through the first 2 weeks. The Colts are the number 2 rushing team. 185 yards per game. They added another 167 yards rushing last week against Tennessee. Broncos at Packers. Packers are 2-0. Fun fact, Green Bay has never lost at home against the Broncos in their whole history. They're 5-0-1 against the Broncos in Green Bay. The Broncos offense is 28th in rushing. They're 28th in scoring at 15 points per game. So I think it's pretty clear I'm going to go with the Packers on this one. Packers go 3-0. Dolphins at Cowboys. Dolphins at Cowboys. I don't have anything to say. I literally don't have anything to say. Cowboys are going to win, man. The Dolphins are throwing the year. Clearly, people are asking to be traded. People are asking to be released. Cowboys are going to win. 3-0 Cowboys. Bengals at Bills. The Bengals won 5 out of 6, and they're pissed. They believe that they should be 2-0. The Bills are 2-0. They're jealous. They're on the road. They have something to prove. They don't believe that they're the worst team in the AFC North, as the standings show right now. I'm going to have to go Bengals. Starting with the late games, Giants at Buccaneers. Daniel Jones, this is his debut. The Giants won 7 out of 10. I expect this game to be high scoring, and I expect this game to be Daniel Jones' first win in the NFL. I'm going Daniel Jones to win in his debut at the Giants. I think he's going to give this team some juice. He has a lot to prove. You know, people, including myself, said that he shouldn't have been drafted that high. So he's also on the road against a quarterback that I told you guys is on the hot seat. So Daniel Jones picked the perfect game. They picked the perfect game to start Daniel Jones. I think they're going to get the win, and the Giants are looking at their future. Panthers at Cardinals. Cam injuries are too much. We talked about him being in a walking boot. Kyler Murray and that hungry Cardinals team are going to get their first win this year. They're going to get their first win. They're going to be 1-1. They're going to be even across the board. I'm going to go Kyler Murray and the Cardinals at home. Steelers at 49ers. 49ers are 2-0. The Steelers don't have Big Ben, clearly. The 49ers lead this series 11-10. 49ers are undefeated. This is Mason Rudolph's first road game. Steelers are allowing 445 yards per game, 320 passing, 30 points per game. Gonna go 49ers. 3-0 49ers. Sounds like an easy pick to me. Saints at Seahawks. No Drew. 2 matchups that could have been a lot better, but no Drew Brees. Seattle's at home. Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think is ready to go into Seattle and come out with a dub. I'm going to go with CenturyLink on this one. The 12th man. Seattle will get another win. They'll go 3-0. Texans at Chargers. Chargers lead this series 5-1. Their only loss being in San Diego. Both O-lines are very vulnerable. Houston has allowed 10 sacks. LA has allowed 5 sacks. They have allowed a lot of pressures as well. The Chargers are 4th in total yards per game offensively, and Houston is 5th in rushing. So I expect this to be another close game. I'm sorry, Chargers fans. You know how they do our heart. They got us having heart attacks every week. That's just how we play. But hopefully it's not that way. Hopefully we get away with this one. In LA, I'm going with the Chargers. The night game, Rams at Browns. Rams have won the last 3 in Cleveland. The matchups favor the Rams. You know, we talk about Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib matching up with Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. I think that matchup favors the Rams. So, that being said, Cleveland has only ran for 86 yards per game. So if you can't get the ball to your star receivers and you can't run the ball, you're not really going to score. Their only hope in this game is David Njoku. So I'm going to have to go with the Rams on the road. Browns lose at home again. The Rams are allowing only 92 rush yards per game, so that even further solidifies the Rams defense is 5th in total yards and only allowing 18 points per game. Going with the Rams on the road. Bears at Redskins on Monday night. Bears defense allowing 12 points per game. The Washington offense is scoring 24 points per game. Only 37 rush yards per game makes them a one-dimensional team. The Bears are great against the pass. I think this is going to be Bears get the win in Washington on Monday night. Those are my predictions for week 3. What are y'all predictions? Who do you think is going to continue to be undefeated? Who do you have in the KC versus Baltimore game? That is going to be the game of the week. Clearly, everybody's going to be tuned in. What do you think is going to happen between these high-scoring offenses? Do you think the Ravens' defense will show up? Do you think Kansas City's defense will show up? Who knows? Thank y'all for watching, man. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notifications bell so you can know when I drop the heat. It's your boy, Jay. We out of here.